Going live. Greetings in the love and in the light of the one infinite creator. Today, we are meeting for the Global Distributist Party. And so that's the greetings, and we need to decide. I guess I'll be the meeting chair. Does anybody want to volunteer to be the secretary today? Okay, well, it's all right. I could do that too. Okay. The objectives and the purpose of the meeting is, first of all, to get us all acquainted. And now we're going to do a brief self-introduction of participants, including their backgrounds and interests in distributism. So, Eric, you want to start? Oh, you're muted.
Yep. Sorry about that. Phone was acting up. Yes, Eric Anton. I'm here representing the American Solidarity Party. As far as background goes, I'm the primary author of the current economics plank, which is heavily inspired by distributism and specifically Catholic social teaching. And that is our primary economics focus as a minor party in the United States. As you can see, I have lots of reading to still do on this sort of subject, but you can never read enough on it. As far as background goes, I served in the United States military for 8 years, and then left, became a social worker for a bit, and now I work at home.
All right, thank you. Simon Michaud, can you introduce yourself? And you're muted.
No, not yet.
Oh, yeah, I can hear you now. Yep.
My headphones seem to cancel the sound. Hi, Simon Michaud, Associate Professor of Geological Survey of Finland. I can't stay too long. I had one cancellation and I'm on my way to another meeting in about 10 minutes.
Okay.
Studying raw material supplies and energy transition in general.
Okay, thank you. All right. Philip, can you give your intro? And
yes, my name is Philip Woodard.
Now I can't hear anything.
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you, Philip.
I live in Lansing, Michigan, and I'm retired from General Motors here in Lansing. I'm kind of a social, what's the right word? Social justice citizen. No, I'm not a warrior. I'm just doing what citizens should do, in my opinion. Okay. Anyway, I found this kind of interesting, and in some ways, I might play a little bit of the devil's advocate on some of this. Okay. But I'm very interested because, well, we're all human beings. Okay. That's the end of my speech.
All right. Awesome. And Ivor Loffing, can you give a little intro of yourself and relation to distributism?
Yeah, my name's Ivor Luffing, and I've been very interested in peak oil for a long time. So I'm just kind of getting into distributism, and I kind of think it's could be a good way to deal with relocalization. I've been very into relocalization with the transition movement and different people, and I kind of feel like this might be a way to kind of put a political movement or a more formal way of doing transition.
Awesome. Andrew?
I'm Andrew, and I'm just a guy come in with this. I really am interested in the sovereignty movement, but I realize also, and I'm involved a little bit with one small town, the Ubuntu thing with Michael Tellinger. I'm just sort of starting into this whole thing. It kind of came up through the whole situation that we've been through, so it's kind of a life-shifting experience. But I really see that responsibility is a big issue about this. You can't just sort of say, well, I just want to be sovereign, or I just want to see a blockchain or something like that. Really have to get on board and stay focused about what we're doing, instead of it just becoming something that just fizzles into thin air or something. I don't know. But anyways, not sure what to say, but anyhow, that's it.
All right. Well, thank you. And that was great. Fellow Jitster, I don't know if would you like to introduce yourself there and also update your name when you're able to? I'm not sure they know how to do that. Okay, so we're going to go.
Am I here now?
Oh yeah, we can hear you now. Okay.
Oh, hi. Yeah,
Mhm.
Joe Feeney out here in Los Angeles.
Mhm.
I'm reading Chesterton. I bumped into distributism. I'm interested in the concept. I got an MA in political science. I read a lot, and I'm very interested. So thanks for having this event. I appreciate it.
Very good. Thanks. And if you could just go to the three dots, more actions, and then click on the top where it says fellow Jitster, and then you can update your name for the live stream. Thanks. All right, so we're going to move on to overview of distributism and its relevance globally. And so I'll just do a brief one here from GPT, and then maybe Eric will add some more here. So distributism is an economic and political philosophy that advocates for widespread distribution of property ownership and the decentralization of economic power. The goal of distributism is to create a society in which individuals have greater economic independence and are not subject to the domination of large corporations or the state. The basic principles of distributism is that property ownership should be widely dispersed among the population rather than concentrated in the hands of a few wealthy individuals or corporations. Distributism has potential to address some of the major challenges facing humanity today, such as economic inequality, which is exacerbated by concentration of wealth in the hands of a few, and distributism solutions problem of ownership. And it's also very good for the peak oil, since we're running out of oil, and we need to help migrate a large amount of people from the cities where they won't be able to get any more food, since we won't have fuel for the tractors and the trucks, and then helping them move to rural areas where they can grow their own food in kind of like a more village setting, in a sustainable way with food forests. And then that's considered environmental sustainabilities. Okay. In summary, distributism is an economic and political philosophy that promotes the widespread distribution of property, ownership, and the decentralization of economic power. It has the potential to address some of the major global challenges facing humanity today, including economic inequality and environmental sustainability. By promoting local ownership and control, distributism can create a more equitable and sustainable economy that empowers individuals and communities rather than large corporations and centralized governments. So large corporations, that would be like fascism direction, but fascism is also very authoritarian, so it's got a lot of regulations. It's very big on regulations and subsidies and price fixing and things like this. And socialism would be large governments, large centralized governments. So distributism, by contrast, is I guess you could say a small government, but it's more focused on the local. And now I wanted to give a space for Eric to add anything he would like to on this topic.
As far as the on the government thing, it's not necessarily that it's an anti-government type thing. It's if you are in the area, if you're the local government, you need to have the participation of the people, and you should have the authority to do things. It shouldn't be decided by someone off somewhere else. As far as the wide distribution of property, the philosophy of the ones that work in the factory ought to have ownership of the factory and have a say in how it's run is a key, not a controlling stake and decisions made, say, in Wall Street to say, we're going to shut this factory down and too bad, this town is going to die because we want to make that decision. It's the factory owners and the workers locally there that should make that decision. That is, but otherwise, no real issue with what was said. I think it was Chesterton who also said, when he was outlining all the principles of distributism, that the problem with capitalism is that there's too few capitalists. Distributism is the idea of every worker ought to have that ability to become a capitalist and to be an owner and have the ability to make those decisions.
All right. Thank you for that, Eric. Okay. So next, we are going to establishing the Global Distributist Party vision, mission, and goals. Discussion on the proposed vision, mission, and goals of the Global Distributist Party. So did anyone want to start on that? Oh, Philip, go ahead. You're muted. Could you unmute? Yeah, there you go.
Yes, I have some thoughts here, and I made a list, in fact. So I'm new to this distribution type stuff. However, I have read a fair amount of political theory and communism and socialism and hippie communes and collectivism and such like that. I think I agree with the principle in word because of the fact that our lives are centered around who gets what, where, and why. And that is actually politics. And I think we know that. Some of our difficulty is trying to discern who is the leader and who is the boss. And I think most of us here kind of agree that we'd like to dispel with some of those, but that may not work well. Some of my thoughts, and I analogously make this to hippie communes in which everything should be freely distributed, is there's several YouTube videos online about hippie communes, and in pretty much every instance, they've all disbanded, and they've all faced the same exact difficulties as a regular city, which is egos, capitalism, lazy workers, people that won't work, people that steal, sexism, patriarchy, etc. And so then the hippie communes go, man, this isn't quite working, is it? You know, in terms of having a central world. Oops, I'm going with the pictures now. In terms of going with a central world distribution, I'm kind of pretty much in favor of that. But from a USA standpoint, there's many Americans that are death on that, and they don't care about NATO, they don't care about UNICEF, they don't care about the world order or whatever. Many Americans, particularly white males, want to get mine and have mine and keep mine, and that's what it's about for them. So, like when they hear about distributionism, like what we're talking about here, they're quick to call us a bunch of global homos. Okay. Global homo, what's that? You know, it's a disparaging term, obviously, but it's like it's inferring that we're leftists and that we're what's the right word? Flighty and idealistic. They got another word for it. I can't think of it. But let me look at my notes here.
I just wanted to address some of the points you raised here. And so in terms of the hippies, so what they found is that basically intentional communities do not work without faith. There needs to be some kind of element of spirituality or transcendence in order for any kind of intentional community to work, because basically, like the most successful communities have in history, in Europe anyways, have been all of the Anabaptist variety. So that would be the Amish, the Mennonites, the Hutterites, primarily. And what is unique about their faith is that they consider to be the most important part of the Bible is the Sermon on the Mount, where Jesus says, forgive and love your enemies, be kind to each other, that kind of stuff. And so basically that is what is necessary in order to maintain social cohesion. Otherwise, it just won't work. And so it is. Also, I just wanted to point out that distributism is very different from socialism, because in socialism, everything is centralized. The government owns everything and then decides who gets what. Whereas in distributism, everyone is supposed to have enough to meet their own needs. And here I just had GPT write down a paragraph on the vision, mission, and goals of the Global Distributist Party. I'll just give it a read here. The Global Distributist Party envisions a world where economic democracy and social equity are the foundation of thriving, sustainable communities. Our mission is to advocate for distributist policies and principles on a global scale, fostering a shift towards decentralized, locally driven decision-making and widespread ownership of productive assets. Our goals include promoting the adoption of distributist policies in various countries, supporting the growth of cooperatives and small businesses, and encouraging sustainable development that preserves the environment for future generations. By working together with individuals, communities, and governments, we seek to create more equitable and resilient global society grounded in the principles of subsidiarity, solidarity, and the common good. All right. Eric, did you have any commentary on that you wanted to add or modify?
No.
No.
Sounds
good.
Yeah.
All right. Anyone else wanted to comment on this topic? Before we, okay, Philip, go ahead. Oh, you have to unmute.
Got it. Thanks. I'm having a problem with my switch. As soon as I switch it on, it seems like it switches back off. But I am hopeful nonetheless of these policies, future policies. One of the working definitions of politics is the art of the possible. Okay. And this is one of those things that I feel falls into that realm. The term I was trying to search for before is that in many American white male minds, we are snowflakes. Okay, that's the term that they like to apply to this forward progressive ideological thinking. I do agree with what you're saying there, Andrew, about there needs to be some type of core, spiritual, and sometimes otherwise, that holds and bonds the group together. If they don't have a core or a tenet or a set of beliefs, then it's just a neighborhood, a free-fall neighborhood in which I yell at my neighbor and they yell at me. Okay, that's the end of my speech for now. I'll let someone else talk.
All right. So if anyone else wants to comment on the mission, vision, and goals, now's the time. Otherwise,
How about me?
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, hi. I think we can look back in history and see where, really the experiments have been done and things have worked for a while and then they go awry. I'm thinking of 1955 America with widespread home ownership, local hotels owned by local people, local businesses owned by local people, and then the interstate highway system comes along and all of a sudden the hotels are owned by large chains, the stores are owned by large chains, the local mom and pop furniture store, clothing store, etc., gets absorbed. And I think we could look back into the early 50s to see a more distributist vision of America before the interstate highway system and the electronic media homogenized the landscape. That's what I want to say. Thanks.
All good points. Yep.
I wonder if I could say something.
Go ahead.
when I lived in, I used to live in Costa Rica, and they came up with the idea. Well, they didn't come up with the idea, but somebody came up with the idea of ecotourism. And the idea of ecotourism was that the people who live in the country benefit from the tourism. And so you go to places in Costa Rica, and as you come up to the national park, there are all these little, bed and breakfasts and places to eat, etc., all owned by the Costa Ricans themselves and run by Costa Ricans. And I mean, Costa Rica has a much more egalitarian ethos, the whole country. But the whole idea was that the people who live in the country should control the tourism and the economic benefits that come from it. And I know that here in Maine, we kind of I've worked in tourism for quite a while, and we kind of feel the same way. Instead of having these giant, there are places in Maine, mostly near the interstate highways, that have things like Best Westerns and giant hotels and things. But the actual tourism itself is mostly people who live here or, small businesses. And so I kind of feel like I'd like to see an economy like that. And I know how hard it is, even in most towns, most businesses, to get into business because a lot of it is sort of taken up by these giant corporations and these giant people. And I'd like to see, I don't know, my goal is to sort of see more of that, more local control of things and the economy, etc. And it'd be nice. I don't know, what we can do to foster that, but it would sure be nice to get ready for this, because I think the big corporations, as we can see, are already losing control a little bit. I heard that Walmart is not having a great time. So maybe it's time for us to take the economy back bit by bit. Thank you.
Yeah, my understanding is basically as we run out of fuel, it'll become harder and harder for the large enterprises and stuff to continue functioning, and we're going to naturally get to a more local. So here on the agenda, it's asking us to reach consensus on the party's guiding principles and objectives. So in terms of guiding principles, it's recommending subsidiarity, which means prioritizing local decision-making and empowering communities and individuals. Is there anyone that objects to this as a guiding principle? Okay. So everyone's in favor? Okay.
Oh, wait a minute. I'd like to say something.
Go ahead.
I know people in Louisiana and Texas. I know people in the oil industry. We got so much oil, it's insane. There's so much oil, they're finding it all the time. And there's more oil per capita today than there was 20 years ago. I, however, am not happy that the money is sucked out of the local community and taken away by the gas stations to some far-off corporate entity. Perhaps the ability to create and generate electricity on a local level will do away with that. In other words, I don't think the oil companies have to run out of oil for that to happen. I think if we can develop local power generation, maybe for the electric cars, I don't know, or for another element of energy to make cars, I want to see that for sure, so that we're not always going to the gas station and sending money to Saudi Arabia or Texas, so that we can have our own local power generators. I don't know what that would be. A miniature power generating station run on some other power source than oil. That's my 2 bits, and thanks.
Yeah. Can we go
ahead,
Andre. Before we start, can we figure out how many people voted on subsidiarity?
Yeah. Could you guys just put in the chat yay or nay or something? Just because I'm just not sure how to do this. If there's a poll, maybe there's a poll feature. I don't know. Otherwise, yeah. Because I can't see everyone, unfortunately. Okay. So we got a yay from Andrew, yes from Ivor. Eric, you support. Okay, Philip gives a thumbs up.
As a delegate for the ASP, we're more observing. Yes, I agree. This is what you ought to do, but if I'm representing the party, I'm not going to vote
Okay,
because that goes beyond my basically my purview here.
Oh, okay, all right. As just an observer. Okay, so far we've got all agreements. So we've got a majority in favor of subsidiarity. All right, and so the next one is and I just wanted to respond to fellow Jetster there about the oil thing. We actually do another. Maybe next week we'll do a peak oil chat again. And basically the sustainable things that we have are hydroelectric and wood in terms of future after the oil runs out. Okay, so the second guiding principle here is solidarity, fostering cooperation and mutual support among individuals, communities, and nations. Do we have agreement on that? Could I have a show of hands, I guess? Does that sound okay? Great. All right. So we voted in favor of solidarity. Great. And oh, sorry. Are you, fellow Jitsu, did you have something to say about solidarity?
Oh, I'm in the shower, so I can't vote one way or the other. I'm listening on my cell phone.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Just want to let you know.
Okay, sure.
Can he mute himself because it's
okay? Yeah.
Yeah, I'll get there. I'll get over there.
Yeah, I can mute him.
Get my phone
there.
Is it off now?
Oh no, he moved. Hold on a second here. There. Okay, now he's muted. Okay, great. So the common good, promoting the well-being of all members of society, ensuring that no one is left behind. That sounds agreeable to everybody? Yeah. Okay. And sustainable development, balancing economic growth with environmental stewardship and social equity. So in favor, or anyone want to discuss on that? Andrew?
I don't know. It's just like they are general statements and stuff like that. I'm not sure if I'm like, just because I'm new to it, and I would need to think about a lot of the other things. But I just like I have been voting in favor, but I'm not sure if I'm just not really thinking through. Obviously anything that is brought up, there's other discussion and so forth, and so like you can't just say it's a cut and dried sort of thing. It's like, yes, we're voting on this, and then there's a lot of other things that are involved in how it's administered and so forth. So I just like saying that I'm not really voting against or in favor, just kind of I'm trying to see the whole thing through first or whatever. So
okay.
Perhaps just disregard my vote, yay or nay. I'm not sure, but yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, I'd like to ask about this latest one, sustainable growth. Now you say that it's balancing human and environmental concerns.
It says, okay, so sustainable development, balancing economic growth with environmental stewardship and social equity. Yeah. So my understanding of this statement is I'm not sure about the economic growth part, to be honest. But maybe environmental stewardship I agree with for sure. That's basically maintaining a sustainable environment, and social equity is making sure everybody has enough for their needs. But I don't know if there's a different way we might want to say economic growth, maybe economic stability or something like that.
Yeah, that's what I'm concerned about, is because you can really rationalize a lot of economic economic growth has to happen despite the fact that we're chopping down the forest, or, just as an example, or we're externalizing a lot of our wastes. Like, for example, you can pollute a river and say we have to, I live in Maine, this happens all the time. We have to keep this economic growth going by either polluting the river or, polluting the air. So it's sort of like you're externalizing your environmental costs. And some places making a living, the town that has the paper mill, for example, but you're pushing your wastes on down to the places down south of you, and those, or wherever downriver, and those places are having to absorb the economic cost of dealing with it.
Mm-hmm. So, do you have an amendment? Did you want to put economic stability or just take out the economic portion? I don't know.
Yeah, I think take out the economic portion, because all of a sudden that trumps, economics always trump the environment. But in fact, I think at this point we're beginning to realize that, nature bats last.
Mm-hmm.
Environmental concerns are definitely number one, or we won't have a livable place to live in.
Mm-hmm. So, the new reading is Sustainable Development, Balancing Environmental Stewardship and Social Equity.
Balancing, okay.
Yeah, here, I'll put it in the chat. All right. So everyone agrees with that one?
I'm okay with it now. Can you read it one more time?
Okay. Sustainable Development, Balancing Environmental Stewardship and Social Equity. I also put it in the chat.
Sustainable Development, right?
Yeah. That's it's called a guiding principle.
Sustainable Development, Balancing Environmental Stewardship and Social Equity. Okay, I can go for that.
Okay, great. Philip? Mm-hmm. Oh.
You can hear me?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it looks like you're reading from something and pulling us from something different than the plan on the left that I have, the guiding principles. So it looks like you're reading from like the global distribution network or something, and seeking us to say yay or nay to some of those things. Is that correct?
So basically what I've done is I've gotten GPT-4, which is kind of an AI that's passed the uniform bar exam at the 93rd percentile and it's got petabytes of data and stuff. And so it just collate kind of a draft. It's made a draft of what the principles are based on what's already been written in distributism on Earth that it's aware of. And so we're going through it, and then we're deciding if we want that for the Global Distributist Party. So
okay, because I see further on down the list here, we're talking about. Hang on. Okay, I guess
maybe we'll get to it.
I'll let you run with it, sir.
Okay.
Amen.
All right. So the next one is economic democracy, advocating for widespread ownership of land, capital, and other productive assets. Unfortunately, I can't see anybody anymore. So either you'll have to... Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, sure. We should put it in the chat.
Yeah, either put it in the chat or use the raise hand emoji.
I'm up for this one.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So no objections? Oh, or okay. You'd like to... Oh, I think the raised hand emoji is also the you'd like to speak emoji. Okay. All right. I guess the thumbs up emoji would be the one for voting yay. All right. So everyone is agreed. Great. And so now objectives. Advocate for the adoption of distributist policies in various countries influencing national and international policymaking. Do we agree with that objective? Or if yeah. Mhm.
Can I?
Yeah, you can speak to it. Go ahead.
Am I unmuted? Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't see at this point. I don't know how we really influence national and international policy. I mean, you know, the way it's set up, we had kind of could maybe have a small party and influence political power that way.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't see us, you know, talking to anybody and having anybody listen just yet.
Well, so I would like to propose. So I don't know if Eric is listening, but my idea was that with the Global Distributist Party, we could, like say on our website, include the distributist or the distributist affiliated parties from the different countries that they are. And so if someone is interested in distributism, then they can go to the website and then they could find their local kind of chapter, if you will. And also we don't have to necessarily even wait for, say, some kind of like elections necessarily. Rather, people who are interested in distributism can get together and start, doing distributism, like cooperatives, credit unions, and land sharing and intentional communities, and all of these things. And then we could have our own group. And in terms of advocating for the adoption of distributist policies in various countries and influencing national and international policymaking, it would be from the people who are actually in those countries that want that. And then we would simply be like supporting them by, giving them the material they request, or saying, yeah, that's aligned with distributism, that kind of thing. Or, if they need some help from a different country, maybe we could help coordinate that kind of cooperation in between countries. Does that kind of make sense? Yeah. All right, great. Okay. So next we so is everyone agreed on that, or does anyone else have any other objections to advocate for the adoption of distributist policies in various countries influencing national and international policy? All right. So the next one is support the growth and development of cooperative small businesses and family-owned enterprises as they embody distributist principles. Yeah. All right. Phillips gives a thumbs up. Yep. Ivor? Yeah, Ivor's. Okay, great. Okay. Next, encourage sustainable development practices that preserve the environment for future generations and promote equitable resource distribution. Oh, Ivor, you're muted.
Can you read the last one again?
Yeah. Encourage sustainable development practices.
No, the one before that.
Oh, sorry. Oh, the other one. Support the growth and development of cooperatives, small businesses, and family-owned enterprises as they embody distributist principles.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, yeah. All right. And so we were in agreement on that one, if I recall. Okay, so now we're on encourage sustainable development practices that preserve the environment for future generations and promote equitable resource distribution. That's good. Yeah. So an example of that would be, supporting food forests and making sure everyone has enough land to grow their own food. Philip, you wanted to say something? Or you're just giving a thumbs up? You have to unmute yourself if you want to speak.
I have a double whammy on my mic. Anyway, the future generations, preserve the environment for future generations. I think that's all well and good, and I think many of you may know and or recall that some of the Indian tribes and the Native American Indian tribes would, in some instances, in some tribes, practice a philosophy that would preserve and encourage things and the environment for the next 7 generations. Not sure how many people are familiar with that, but that's a forward thinking that says we care about the earth now. Our children care about the earth, our grandchildren and their great grandchildren, 7 generations away. I like that. That's kind of highly idealistic. I still like it. Okay. I don't care if it's idealistic, but I still, and I'll have some reservations because as we study people and whatnot, we are aware of a mindset in many instances, again, in America, in which I got mine, you better hurry up and get yours too. Okay. So trying to change that mindset in that group to even care about their neighbors in today's world right here, right now, is a challenge that's hard to get them to understand. And that's the end of my speech. Over to you. Back over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think that would be under solidarity. Well, we talked about fostering cooperation and mutual support amongst individuals, communities, and nations. So fostering that cooperation between neighbors, and that's certainly something we want to do. And I think that, well, one of the ways would be promoting kind of forgiveness, love, and compassion for each other. And we could do it through a faith-based or through just a secular kind of good for everybody kind of thing. But yeah, future generations, I know, like, yeah, you could do 7 generations, but then like you could do 1,000 generations, and then it's like, so just future generations kind of keeps it because I think the Christians want 1,000 generations and the indigenous want 7 generations. So if we just keep it to future generations, then everyone's happy. All right. Okay, cool. So next is foster collaboration and partnership with like-minded organizations and individuals to advance the distributist agenda. Does that sound, if everyone all right with that, or anyone want to discuss that? Oh, Ivor?
Who are these other groups with other groups? I mean, we might end up, kind of finding ourselves with, I know politics makes strange bedfellows, but we don't want to end up, I personally do not want to end up with a bunch of, white nationalists or somebody crazy.
Okay. Well, yeah, it would be like-minded organizations and individuals. So I don't know if they would necessarily fit in with that. I was thinking like, the American Solidarity Party, for instance, it doesn't have distributist in the name, but they're like-minded. That they promote distributist policies. So that's what I was thinking. It would be under like-minded. So other organizations that are promoting distributism but aren't necessarily use the word distributism. And in terms of like, I don't think if we go by the common good thing, ensuring no one is left behind, then we can't leave behind even the white nationalists or whatever. If they have their own little communities, where they can be white together or something, then it doesn't really harm anybody else.
No,
not
for me. I'm not joining anything that. I'm not joining that group because I don't believe in what they're saying, and I don't really want to. I don't really want to be pals with them because, I mean, for example, my wife is a person of color, etc., and I just don't want to be a part of a group, that wouldn't include me. Wouldn't
Yeah,
include
I hear you. I hear you totally, and I feel the same way. I don't know any personally. I was just,
I know
speaking in
some.
theory.
I know some, and they're moving in on parts of Maine, and there's a guy wanted to start a white ethno state here in north of us. He wanted to be king. His wife wanted to be the queen. Anyway, they were kind of nutty, but I mean, who knows what the step is beyond that before they're, I mean, before they're attacking.
Wow, you have some unique geopolitics over there. Yeah.
Oh, we do. Oh, believe me, we do. This is what this country is about nowadays.
Mhm.
There's a lot of culture war, etc. But I mean,
Mhm.
I can't go for that personally, and I don't think. I
Well-
mean, I know that the other thing about distributism is there is a bit of there's religion included in it, and obviously I'm a religious person. I go to church every week, but I'm not a person who believes in what some of these people are setting up.
Right. So I think that maybe one way we could figure out if they're like-minded is if they share our guiding principles, And so in your example of the exclusive nationalist groups that are not including others, they would not be following the common good of ensuring no one is left behind. So then they wouldn't be like-minded, and then we wouldn't have to do anything with them. Does that sound good?
That's that's reasonable. But I mean, it's almost like you want to know exactly who you're combining with.
Yeah. Oh, well, I think it would be up to individual distributists to decide how to interpret these objectives. I don't know if you want me to add if you wanted to make an amendment to this particular objective, I can put it in the chat. And if you want to change some of the wording, that's possible. But otherwise, yeah, Philip?
You can hear me?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think the key word in your statement there is like-minded organizations, collaboration and partnerships with like-minded organizations. And I think that we can agree, most of us here, that the white nationalists are not like-minded. As an addendum to that, I find that it's like I can find reasons for exclusion in just about every group, including my family. Okay, because it's like there's all these differences and minute differences, and you think that, well, you're slightly off kilter, and they're like, well you think this, no, you're slightly off kilter, and so it's hard to form a like-mindedness. This should have probably been a little bit more of an American thing, but what the like-mindedness that we've been brought up to believe is white male dominance, patriarchy. Sorry, I'm getting off on a tangent here, but I just want to reiterate, like to Ivor there, that the key phrase in your question there was like-minded organizations. That's the end of my speech.
So yeah, I'm hearing that there's an issue with the word like-minded. Maybe we can say compassionate organizations, or loving, God-loving organizations, or maybe there's another term that would be more satisfactory. Does anyone have any idea? Oh, and I just wanted to also welcome our new member here, Thomas. Thomas, did you want to unmute and give just a brief intro on who you are and your relation to distributism and where you are? Thomas, if you can hear us. Okay. No. Okay. So Philip Woodard says he likes like-minded. Ivor, did you want to keep like-minded, or did you want to change it to something else?
I think we ought to figure out where we're at in terms of that. I mean, I think it should say something about, I think it should say somewhere in there a little bit about our, leanings, how we feel about actually race and religion, maybe.
Well,
I mean, that's the stumbling block there,
Right. It's just that, so maybe we can put like-minded organizations that are in alignment with our guiding principles. Would that work?
Does it mention anything in the guiding principles about?
It mentions ensuring no one is left behind, well-beings of all members of society. So that would not allow for, say, excluding people of a different race or ethnicity or something like that.
How about people of different sexual preferences and things?
Yeah. So all members of society includes everyone, regardless of their preferences or their anatomical features. So okay. So we're going to amend it to like-minded organizations that are aligned with our guiding principles. Like-minded, meaning they are aligned with our guiding principles. Partners with, how about organizations, individuals, with individuals that are aligned with our guiding principles to advance the distributist agenda. Here, I'll post it in the chat as well, just so you can also look at it. So foster collaboration with partnerships. Foster collaboration and partnerships with organizations and individuals that are aligned with our guiding principles to advance the distributist agenda. Here, I'll put it.
Can I hear exactly what is the distributist agenda?
So we just covered it in our guiding principles. Yeah, you know what? I can ask I can ask GPT, write a sentence on what is the distributist agenda. All right. The distributist agenda aims to create a more equitable and sustainable society by advocating for decentralized decision-making, widespread ownership of productive assets, and fostering strong local communities based on cooperation, solidarity, and the common good.
Yeah, that's good. Okay.
Okay, I'm going to add that into our meeting minutes here. Okay. And so are we agreed with it now?
Yeah.
Or, okay, agreed. Great. Next,
let's do a little vote here. Do a little vote. Make sure we
do a little vote. Okay, so any objection? Oh, okay, everyone agreed? Okay.
Well, it's enough to pass.
Enough to pass. All right, great. Next one, raise awareness and educate the public about distributism, its principles, and potential to address pressing global challenges. I'll post it in the chat. So again, that's raise awareness and educate the public about distributism, its principles, and potential to address pressing global challenges. Is that agreeable? I think it's good.
Let's just a second. We'll have a we'll have a formal vote.
Okay, sure. I'll see if I can find a polling function in here.
Well,
read the sentence again, please. The principle again, please.
Mhm. Raise, this is an objective, raise awareness and educate the public about distributism, its principles, and its potential to address pressing global challenges.
Okay. All those in favor?
Right. Yep. Philip, how about you? Yep, you're in
Okay,
favor?
so it's
All right.
definitely passed.
The motion passes. Great.
Oh,
All right. Establish and maintain a platform for dialogue and exchange of ideas among distributists from different countries and backgrounds. Yeah. Okay. Philip's giving you a thumbs up. Yeah. Ivor's in favor. Okay. Andrew's in his favor. Okay. Great. All right. The motion passes. Monitor and evaluate the implementation of distributist policies and their impact on global challenges such as income inequality, environmental sustainability, and community resilience.
Can you read that one again?
Monitor and evaluate the implementation of distributist policies and their impact on global challenges such as income inequality, environmental sustainability, and community resilience. So that sounds like a good idea to monitor, the effect of our policies and if they're working or not. That's my brief summary there.
Okay.
All right. I think I saw Philip and Andrew voted in favor. I'm okay with it too.
I did too.
You do too? Okay. All right. So it passes. Great. So that was all the objectives and all of the principles with some modifications. So now we're moving on to the drafting of the Global Distributist Party Charter. Here, I'm just going to check our time here. We've got 3 minutes left of this hour. Did we want to continue for another hour? Who's in favor of continuing for another hour? Otherwise, we'll schedule
Let's go
for
for like a half hour more.
a half hour. Okay, another half hour.
15, 20 minutes.
15. Okay. All right. Sure.
Cover
Okay.
that.
So I am just going to have to end this stream, and then I'll restart a new stream. Okay.
Can we just log in, or we have to log in again?
No, you don't have to do anything. I'm just going to do it on my end, just because it's
Okay.
live streaming to YouTube. I'm just going to do the outro now, and then we'll rejoin. The viewers will rejoin us for part 2. So we leave you in the love and in the light of the one infinite Creator, and come back. Because we'll or click on the next video. All right, ending stream.